At the end of the last video, I mentioned that we're going to introduce a new folder structure. So we're going to start there by creating the correct folders and files first. So I'm going to go to Sublime, and I'm going to make my new file for our HTML. It's just going to be our main HTML file, and I'm going to call it index.html, and I have a folder for it I'm just calling to-do list project. So index.html, and then we'll add in our basic HTML boilerplate, and I'll call this to-do list, and save. And then we're going to go and make a few new directories. And I'm just going to do that from Finder. So you can right click and do new folder. You can do Command-Shift-N. You can also do that from inside of Sublime. If you go into File, New File, and you save it, you can click New Folder here. However you go about creating the new folder, we're going to make a folder called Assets. And then inside of Assets, we're going to make two folders, one for JS and another one for CSS. And then lastly, inside of JS, we're going to make another folder called lib. So if I open this entire structure up inside of Sublime by just dragging the whole project over like this, you can see that our structure is now to-do list project, and we have an index.html, and then we have an assets directory. Inside of assets, we have CSS and we have JavaScript. And inside of JavaScript, we have a lib directory. So we'll be putting our style sheet inside of the CSS directory, and inside of JS, we'll be putting our own custom JavaScript where we write the jQuery. And inside of lib is where we're going to add jQuery itself, the actual jQuery file. So we'll start there. Let's go and make sure we have jQuery. So I'm going to just go to jQuery.com, and rather than doing a CDN, because this is more of a serious project, we're going to download the most recent compressed version. So that's right here, compressed production 2.1.4. And then I'm going to find that file and just add it into my assets.js lib. Just add that in like that. And now I'm going to go link to that correctly inside of my Sublime. So in my HTML, I need to add a script tag. And the path to get there is assets/js/lib/jQuery-2.1.4.min.js. So let's do that now. Script type equals JavaScript, source equals assets/js/lib/jQuery-2.1.4.min.js. Long file name to get there. Let's save this, and let's just open it up in our browser to start. So we'll go find our index.html, open it up. We don't have anything to see, but if I go here, I type jQuery, things are working just fine. I could also test it out by doing this, selecting the body, and that works as well. So that means that we're good to go. Next up, let's focus on getting our style sheet and our own custom JavaScript file included. So we're going to make the style sheet first. So let's make a new file and save that. And I'll just call it styles.css. And I'm going to go into my assets, CSS. And actually, to be consistent, let's do todos.css. So todos.css inside of our assets CSS directory, and save. And let's add something like body background purple, which we will absolutely get rid of, but just to make sure that it's working. And then we'll go over here and add in the link tag, and then add the correct path, which is assets/css/todos.css. And we'll save and refresh. And you can see our style sheet is now connected properly. The last thing we're going to do is get our own custom JavaScript file going. So I'm going to make a new file and save it. And we'll call this one todos.js. And that's where we're going to write the actual code that will make our to-do list work. So that should go inside of assets, JS, And that's it. So we don't put it in lib because lib is where we're going to put external code and libraries like jQuery. So we're just going to put it in JS and save. And now our structure looks like this. Assets, CSS, we have to-dos. Inside of JS, we have the lib directory that has jQuery in it. And we have our own to-dos.js inside of the JS folder. And let's go add a simple alert, connected, and save. Now go back to our HTML and add in another script tag. And this time we're going to add source equal to assets /js /todos.js and save. And now let's see what happens when we refresh. We get our connected alert. Okay, so we have the folder structure set up correctly. So we will be introducing another file that we need to place once we talk about Font Awesome, which is a CSS library. It's basically a bunch of icons that we can include. So we will be returning to this folder structure and adding to it in a future video. For now, that's all we need to do. In the next video, we'll focus on writing some code.